Not gonna lie, the IMDb description of this movie is pretty much the reason I watched it. Look it up, links are below. It's one of the most ridiculously worded things I've read in a long time. But it had me intrigued, so mission accomplished, I guess. And it's about this young woman who still lives at home with her mom. But she's an aspiring artist and she's also completely obsessed with this social media influencer. And while I feel the movie Ingrid Goes West has a similar premise, and I was kinda afraid this one would go the same route with the story, this is a very different movie and one that is very difficult to explain without going into detail. But it's essentially about these two women and a third party, a man. And let's just say that the dynamic between the three of them is rather interesting. And this is not a story I've personally seen before, so points for originality. It's also a pretty good looking movie, and every now and again they did something cool. To switch it up, just visually something different. Like one of the longest montage sequences in recent memory. But you can tell that there was a definite vision behind this movie. And I guess the story does work. There aren't any major flaws with it. But here's the thing, for the most part I just didn't find it that compelling. Probably because of the characters, they just weren't that interesting to me. I mean, they had their moments. Sometimes I found the movie to be engaging. But for most of it I didn't, and without that there's not that much left. Just a quirky little movie with kind of a bonkers plot. On the other hand, I was never really bored with it, and it was somewhat entertaining. It just failed to engage me on a deeper level, which I guess brings me to the tone, because this movie actually has some heart to it. But that doesn't really come into play until later. And for the early part of the movie it's just kinda quirky and lighthearted. But then there's this sudden layer of depth added to it that kinda felt out of place, to be honest. And overall everything feels a little bit rushed too. I mean, it's a short movie, like an hour 15 minutes. And I feel like if you wanted to go with the deeper route, there needed to be more time dedicated to character development. So yeah, it didn't feel tonally that consistent or coherent. And as a whole I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I don't think it completely worked either. And I just feel like something was missing and I'm not entirely sure what. Also, the message, if there is one, is kinda muddied and unclear. Because there's a few different things going on, giving you mixed signals. On the one hand, it's about it never being too late to make up for your past mistakes. And if you work hard and stick with it, you might see some success. On the other hand, it's telling you you should act like an entitled brat. And whine and complain and eventually things will work out for you. And you don't need to work hard, you can just coast and mooch off of others. So yeah, I'm not really sure what it was going for here, but the message seems a little bit muddled. And overall, I don't think it's a great movie and it has some issues. But at least it tried something a bit different and felt sorta unique. But would I recommend it? No, not really. It's just not that good. So you can probably skip it. Or don't. I'm not your dad. But I am trying to sell out, so consider liking, subbing, hitting that bell and supporting me on Patreon. Because I really need to move to Italy and start designing dresses. And hey, why not drop a comment below or check out another review? I'd appreciate it. Thanks.